sure wish I had a new car, but I'm driving this ragged-ass car. And on and on and on. And your day starts tumbling into what you ordered at the top of the day.
And so that's what I did at age 25. I went to work not on the economy. I went to work not on the community. I didn't go to work to try to change the government. I didn't go to work to try to change my boss or the company.
I had taken one of the teachers out who was on the acceptance committee, and I said, look, I have really terrible SAT scores. I got a 990 on my SATs, by the way. I took it twice. That is my combined score.
Nothing. I'm having a boy. I'm having a boy. The fact that the first year didn't happen, I'm still having a boy. The second year don't have nothing to do with it. I'm having a boy. The third year don't have nothing to do with it. I'm having a boy. The fourth year don't have nothing to do with it. I'm having a boy. The fifth year, nothing had nothing to do with it. I'm having a boy. All of Jamal's thoughts was, I'm having a boy. When the family was like, you might be, I'm having a boy. When wifey was a little like, for real, I believe it, but I'm tired. I'm having a boy. I'm having a boy. Okay, so whatever your crazy thing is, just plug your ears and just say it, right? I'm gonna count to 3. Just plug, absolute silence, but you're gonna scream out loud what your thing is, right? On 3, you're gonna scream out what your thing is. You're gonna close your ears and I want you to hear something. 1, 2, 3. One more time. 1, 2, 3.
You can wake up in the morning and you say, you know what? Today is gonna be a great day today. I expect something really good to happen for me today. You said, what did you say? You say, I said I'm having a great day today. I expect something good to happen today. Foreman positive turns around and goes, all right, let me have your attention. Steve's having a great day today. He's expecting some wonderful things to happen. And man, let's get it going. And they start manufacturing thoughts. Same brain. Man, I can't wait to go to work today. It may not be the job I want, but at least I got a job. I'm so grateful I got a car to drive to work today. Hey man, at least I got a check coming in. I appreciate the fact that I don't have a car, but at least I can walk to the train. Man, this is gonna be great today. That's how your mind works 24/7. It never turns off.
And how often do you hear their voices more than you hear your voice? That's the problem. You hearing their voice and responding to their voice instead of responding to your own voice. When you shut your ears and you say it, it sounds so louder, it's so clearer. So do me a favor, and I don't mean this to be disrespectful. I love my wife, and what I love about my wife is strong. Stop letting your spouse's voice override your voice. I know you in love, but you got a voice. Don't drown your voice for their voice. Like close your ears and hear your voice. And you know what's gonna happen? When you hear your voice and do what you're supposed to do, you're gonna be able to bless your spouse and your kids and your family in a way you can't when you're listening to their voice. Does that make sense? Like, yo, you've been listening to somebody else's voice, what they told you could do, what you couldn't do, and you took that stuff serious. It's your voice. You gotta start listening to it. It knows best. Is that clear?
Change your attitude, you change your altitude.
It all depends on how you look at it. Our lives are mostly affected by the way we think things are, not the way they are. The way we think they are affects us most. And Shope taught me that the mind is like a factory, a mental factory. And whatever you think about all day long pours ingredients into this mental factory. And that's what builds the economic, social, financial fabric of your life. As you think, so you become.
I was so sick of myself. I was so bored in my life, man. I was so tired of being mediocre. You ever say to yourself, man, there's gotta be more to my life than this? If you've ever said that, that's cause it is.
Monkeys with feces, just rubbing it on there, get better scores than that. And I was mortified. I went to the committee to find out what I needed to do to get into film school, which was my dream, the thing that I most wanted in this world. And they said, hey, as long as you've got good grades and you have a 1300 on your SATs, no problem. And I was devastated because I was so far from that. So I took one of the teachers out and I said, look, I have a confession. I got really bad SAT scores. I took it twice. Look, I'm just not good on testing, the whole story. And he was like, oh, who cares? He was like, there's 2 points of acceptance. One as an incoming freshman, where, yeah, we look at your SAT scores, but the other is as an incoming junior, and then we don't care about your SAT scores, which are merely meant to tell us how well you do in college. So I'm just going to look at your grades. So if you get good grades, I'm not even going to look at the rest of your application.
I didn't go to work to try to change circumstances. I went to work to try to change myself. And I picked up that promise. My teachers shared with me that if I would change, my income would change. If I would change, my bank account would change. If I would change, my future would change. And sure enough, his promise came true. The first 6 years of my economic life, I wound up broke. Those pennies in my pocket, nothing in the bank, behind on my promise. The second 6 years of my economic life, I wound up rich. But interestingly enough, the second 6 years of my economic life, the government was about the same and the economy was about the same. You know, the companies were about the same, what they paid was the same. Circumstances around me were the same, you know, my negative relatives were the same, but I was not the same.
Cool, so I locked myself in my dorm room for 2 years. I didn't date, I didn't drink a drop of alcohol, I didn't go to a party. All I did day and night was work. And I studied. Because my problem was, my mom was right. I didn't show signs of early success. People that were looking at me expecting me to fail had accurately assessed what I was capable of at that moment. But what they didn't understand about me, what they didn't understand about the human animal, is our ability to adapt, grow, and get better. The most fascinating thing to come out of science in a long time was when they sequenced the human genome and they realized, and by the way, they thought they were going to solve everything. They thought they were going to cure cancer. They thought this was going to be the end of chronic aging.
That's how my life changed. Things started working for me, changing my life all those years ago. We don't have to change what's going on out there. That's the wind that's blowing. All we have to do is change what's going on in here. And now there's several ways to do that. The first subject he called personal development. We must learn from personal experience. Pretty simple. Learn from what happens to you. Take a look back over the last few months. Did you make some mistakes? How could you correct those for the future? Take a look back over the last year. Have you done it right or done it wrong? Let's correct it for the next year. Mr. Schoaf asked me when I first met him, he said, Mr. Rohn, how are you doing? You've been out there now 6 years. And I said, I'm not doing very well. He said, I suggest you not do that anymore. What a simple, swift analysis of my situation. He said, if you keep doing it, the next 6 years will be like the last 6. You don't want that to happen. Let's make the changes.
All of the diseases that we struggle with now, they thought they were all just going to go away. Once we sequenced the human genome, that was going to be it. It was going to be like a map to Xanadu. It was going to be amazing. And then they did it. And what they discovered was humans only have 20,000 genes. And some onions have 40,000. So they're literally looking at the data going, are we really meant to believe that an onion is more genetically complex than a human being? How can this be possible? Oh, and by the way, they were ignoring all of this stuff that they were calling junk DNA. Now, it didn't take them long to realize that that junk DNA plays a role. We are, without question, the most dominant species this world has ever seen. We are an apex predator unlike anything. You can find us in the Marianas Trench, which is the deepest part of the ocean. You can find us in the Arctic. We have literally sent human beings to the moon.